Hello there, and welcome back to another relaxed chaos end times invasion, where we indulge in whatever the ruinous powers that be would have us indulge in. And today on the menu is the Siege of Kraka-Drak. I always want to say Karak-Drak for some reason. Well, I say for some reason, I think it's somewhat obvious. All the other dwarven fortresses are Karaks. We're through with the siege. There won't be much of a Kraka or a Karak left. But it is the will of the gods, and there is not much we can do but obey. Now, this is a custom settlement from the GCCM mod. I looked up how it's called. It says in the mod manager. Anyways, I looked up what it's called, and there's also part 2 of the mod, I suppose. I've downloaded both of them. There's a full mod list in the description of the video. But yeah, the dwarves here pretty much don't stand a chance. However, auto-resolving is a little bit tricky when assaulting a fortified settlement, because it gives a huge advantage to the defenders that they don't have the towers there and there, and it gives the defenders, occasionally you will end up which is else, and I believe by leeching off the income of the settlement that they're established in. But anyways, be that as it may, when it comes to, can we actually attack from this way? Yeah, and there's only 2 towers. We're definitely attacking from here, even though the angle is a little bit tricky and we'll be fighting uphill. But anyways, as I set up the army and get them in position, for the Vampire Coast it's a different story. But for the other 2 Horde factions, well, at least it's 2 for now, maybe we'll get a new one by the time you're watching this. It is slightly different. Their economy is based on exclusively raiding. Right, so raiding and razing settlements to the ground. The base income that you get is enough to potentially support 1 army of late game units if you have all the upkeep reduction buffs on that 1 army, which you realistically should have anyway, because it's really useful and really powerful. Now, all that said, there is also a little bit of a, I guess, tricky thing to consider with Chaos and with the Beastmen, though I suppose they have Chaos by extension in a way, and that is when to recruit the second army. And if you play a regular faction, you will know that recruiting the second army doesn't actually take that long in the campaign, right? Usually after you secure your first province, you will want to recruit a new army to, help you take over basically more territory, right? However, when it comes to hordes, the second army is very much a mid-game thing. So for the first, well, I won't put a number to it, but for many, many turns, maybe even the first 100 turns, obviously it will depend on your performance in the battles. A lot of the enemies rather that you face, legendary lords that you defeat, and the bonuses that you get from them, where you choose to take your hordes, this will all impact the choice. But essentially, the slope here is actually helping us a little bit with the flaming bolts. Interesting. But anyway, the point being that oh, can we not cast it on the walls? Huh. That's a shame. Alright. Wonder if those dwarves over there defending still. Probably not. Oh well. With quite a bit of degree of variance, you still, however, will recruit them fairly late into the campaign. And the reason for that is rather simple. You will not be able to support and sustain that army otherwise. Because if it is... I love how these warriors look. If it is a early game army, and it will be when you recruit it, because you simply will not have the necessary buildings in the horde itself to recruit late game units, then that army won't be particularly useful at any stage of the game. Even now, at the very beginning of the campaign, an army of nothing more than Chaos Marauders and Marauder Horsemen and Chaos Warhounds is not going to do well, because they will come across some late game units and they will have to fight siege battles, defensive, against enemies in strong defensive positions like this. That will be quite an issue for obvious reasons. So, with that in mind, a horde of basic units is not very effective. You can use that horde to exclusively raid, not attack enemy settlements, well, maybe just attack the very weak ones, the very, very, very weak ones, like level 1 and maybe some level 2 settlements, but the AI is very, very particular about defending their settlements, so you're going to have a hard time keeping that horde alive, and losing it, well, that hinders your progress quite a bit, more so I think in Warhammer 2 than in any other Total War game. Perhaps Three Kingdoms, but I haven't played that one much. That it goes to that point that basically if you lose a stack more times, or at least maybe not more times than not, but very often you will find that it basically means the end of the campaign with surprising regularity. That will mean the end of the campaign, so bear that in mind. And I had no idea that this skull thing keeps going. I thought it was like a brief thingamajig, but apparently not. Interesting. We can overcast a firebolt on them. I think we should do that. Now let's get the Quarrelers and the Thunderers taken out, and get the Chaos Spawn inside the settlement as well. And the Marauders should be enough to deal with ranged units. for anything slightly more challenging, we have Chaos Warriors. So let's keep advancing through the settlement. I believe there's going to be something defending the plaza here as well. At least I think it's called the plaza. It's an old habit from Rome 2 Total War. For those places are forever going to be called the plaza, even if they give them a new name. Anyways, so essentially, this might be useful. Actually, let's overcast it. Good. Bringing the horses too, might as well have them try and get a few kills off, and that didn't do as much as I hoped it would. See if we can't get a nice little fireball in there. Yeah, that's definitely quite powerful. Definitely quite powerful. Good. That should be it, minus the defenders up here, probably. Well, and the guys at the walls, obviously. They too count. And they're holding out extraordinarily well. I mean, they held out longer than the dwarf warriors and miners on the ramp over here, which is, I'll be honest, a little bit surprising. Anyhow, the Dwarven Lord is... I mean, how you are still alive is beyond me. Let's get everyone except Archeon out of there and heading towards the town centre. And we'll leave the two duel because that'll probably kill the Lord faster than anything else due to the way combat works. That is one tough Dwarven Lord. And there's nobody defending here. Interesting. Which means we can enter the vault and the rest of the settlement pretty much unimpeded. And the mines are supposed to. Down in the mines, Riddick. Oh, that's an old movie. Actually, I believe that's from the video game. Based on the movie. Either way, those were Riddick games were really darn good. Or maybe I'm just remembering them as such. Nostalgia is one hell of a powerful thing. Alright. Well, apart from apart from the one unit of marauders that took a bit of, I think it's best to focus on one horde and meet its needs, whether that be money or growth, and build it up into a powerful entity and fill it with late game or even end game units, and after that get the second horde in, because by then you will have an extraordinarily large bank of cash, probably, if all goes well, and you will be able to effectively ride off of your previous success for quite a while with the next horde, and essentially for a long time you just need that second horde to be around more so than anything else, so that it will get at least mid-tier units and buildings to support itself, and you can obviously use it for raiding, and it is quite effective. If you have a full army just raiding provinces with the enemy capital or large settlements, that is quite effective. But the hordes aren't that much more mobile than regular armies, and this sort of needs to be like this, because if they were, you'd never be able to catch them. But the thing is, it's kind of difficult to outrun enemies, especially if you have multiple directions where the enemy can come from and multiple stacks that you need to worry about, or multiple armies that you need to worry about. For example, imagine you're at war with all of Bretonnia. Right, so maybe the Fey Enchantress is in the south mobilizing an army to intercept you, and maybe Luen Leoncoeur is in the north and he's coming towards you as well. Now you need to beat one of those two stacks and then, either continue down that direction until you've replenished your units and head back up and deal with the other stack, or try and run away from both of them. It depends, really. Fighting both of them at the same time, though, might not be the best idea. But point being, it's difficult to keep running away and keep manoeuvring either towards or away from enemy armies and settlements, and having a horde of not that good units or bad units that can't really fight. So yeah, if you do that early game, then it's a problem, and you shouldn't have too many enemies as well, which I think sort of plays into what I was talking about right now, up until now. You shouldn't have too many enemies, simply because they will gang up on you and they will all attack you, which is not something you want, for the simplest of reasons that you essentially have one or two armies and that's it. They have settlements, they have, obviously the AI has buffs and so on and so forth, but they have settlements, they have an economy and all that. You don't. So whilst it might be easy to take out one faction at a time, if you're at war with 4 or 5 of them and they're all relatively close to you, and sometimes even if they're not, they will send armies after you if they have nothing better to do. And sometimes even if they send, a full stack after you in the middle of nowhere. Okay, here we are. So basically we've taken Krakar Drak, and I've moved down here towards Kazid Brud Karag, and I found Skaven there, and I've taken care of them. Let's say I've shown them the way. And also I've just noticed that the armies of Chaos are actually laying waste at Kislev properly now, and that is quite interesting. So I've decided what we're gonna do is we're gonna very orderly, neatly march our way down to Fort Straghov, search it, loot it, or whatever, clear it of and yeah, we're gonna go along that path and into Kislev now. Obviously the alternative being to continue fighting Norskans and declare war on Wintertooth. But declaring war on Wintertooth doesn't actually serve that much of a purpose, because Wintertooth will simply be weakened and won't be able to conduct any attacks or raids on any of the targets over here past the Middle Sea, Sea of Claws, and the Gulf of Kislev. These are Empire provinces, and obviously over here it's Bretonnia. They won't be able to attack any of those when they're weakened from fighting me and focusing on that. So essentially, even though they're not allied to me and they don't exactly love me, I think it would be best to simply leave them be and focus on ourselves and our mission to bring ruin to mankind. And to begin, we're going to start with Fort Ostrosk, sorry, and Fort Straghov over here. But the fact that the Eastern Oblast has fallen, and that there are now 1, 2, 3, 4 Chaos armies, one full of Chaos Spawn and a Chaos Feral Manticore, pretty much signals the beginning of the end for Kislev and the Empire. Down, so those armies are taking away a little bit of my experience and money by sacking those settlements instead of me doing the sacking, but that's quite alright. We're not looking for a particularly, long adventure here. We want to get through with the end times in a relatively quick fashion, so that's what we're doing. And we're also going to upgrade our army from Marauders to Chosen of Chaos. And we've built a Chaos War Shrine as well, which was a goal, and we need to research Unholy Communion, which is right here. Oh, actually, I forgot. Research improves casualty replenishment rate for Chaos Warriors. I was thinking maybe replenishment rate will be a bit of a problem since Archeon's skills don't actually improve much. Dial of the Old Ones. Now I know how to do this one, I think. Basically, you need to rotate it so that it all matches up, right? So this needs to go there. So I'm thinking it's this one? No. That's the only one I'm not quite sure how to do and don't pay much attention to. I know how to do the other ones, the cubes and the one with the numbers. But anyways, doesn't matter. Let's take a look at what our allies will do them to the Hell Pit, and there is actually another army up there, so 1, 2, 3, 4 armies, and I think a 5th one back there. Now that is a proper Chaos invasion force. Obvious problem being if they betray me and declare war on me, that will be quite they don't look like they intend on doing that just yet. Now Fort Ostrog is extremely well defended, and I don't think he'll be able to take it, but I will be able to take the smaller one here in Troll Country. So, I mean, it is the first battle against humans, but it's way too easy. So let's just auto-resolve and loot and raise it, because we do need money. We need quite a bit of money, I'm afraid. And encamp and let's see. Well, I think here and here is what we want, and then we'll go down to probably Doomfire and then Rally, and these are extremely powerful. Okay, now do we want to... we don't want to build anything, but we do want to get rid of at least 3 of these Marauders and replace them with... Aspiring champions? No. What's the purpose of aspiring champions? Armored and shielded vanguard deployment. They're literally worse in every way compared to Chosen of Chaos. Huh. Okay. And actually, our recruitment capacity is such that we can get 5 units at once. So let's go ahead and do that and really upgrade the army. Plus we have a nice supply considering that, or a nice income, considering that that we've built all of these, which reduce the upkeep of all of the units. I want income to be at around 0. Right now we're completely fine with that, and good. Now I've noticed that Fort Straghov doesn't have a Chaos Portal, which is kind of amusing, because I wasn't the one that burnt it to the ground. It was, I think, the Skaven, though I can't be sure. The Red Eye tribe has joined someone, and they're now united against us, the fools. Oh well, considering this is probably going to fall one way or another, I think I should make my way south to Erengrad, which is luckily completely undefended. So let's go ahead and encamp, and I have chosen with great weapons. I don't think they're really that important. I mean, I like anti-large, don't get me wrong, but I don't know. It's also chosen with halberds. Charge defense against large foes. No, I think the one... Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get one of those. And then the rest will be regular chosen. And these Chaos Warhounds, I'm going to replace them too. I'm going to replace them with buff. That's the wrong recruitment tab. Poison Warhounds. Often overlooked when it comes to warfare. Good. I think this will do for this episode. We're just going to get our way over to find our way. Sorry, over to Erengrad and besiege it, and then maybe make our way back over here. It depends on what these guys will do. But I'm pretty sure I ordered them to the Hell Pit. Or maybe I haven't. There is another army that just spawned. Yeah, this is a little bit too much. There's now 2 full Chaos armies attacking Kislev. Yep, this is the beginning of the end for the old world. And we're straight up going to fight this next time round. Test our new units out, and yeah, that's about it. So I guess I'll see you then. Have fun, take care, and bye-bye.